I would, of course, begin by, first of all, since we are still in the first month of this new year, uh, convey my very best wishes for this new year, and perhaps use that as a peg to just take stock of what has been achieved in the last 1 year. So really, 2017 was an important year for several reasons. To begin with, it has celebrated several anniversaries. When we are talking of the Bay of Bengal region, and we did refer to the ASEAN, ASEAN is a regional grouping, and much was said about its achievements. In fact, completed 50 years of its establishment. It also happened to be a year of celebration for India in its relationship with ASEAN, as we celebrated 25 years of India-ASEAN dialogue partnership. In fact, in a week's time from now, we would have the honor and pleasure to welcome all the 10 leaders from the ASEAN countries for an ASEAN-India commemorative summit to mark the 25th anniversary. They would also be chief guests for our Republic Day, which is unprecedented to have 10 leaders. And that itself highlights the importance that India attaches to its Act East policy. And that is where BIMSTEC comes in. You heard other speakers mention that as we celebrate so many other anniversaries, we are also celebrating 20 years of establishment of BIMSTEC. And you can look at it either as a glass half empty or a glass full. And we would like to, I'd like to stay positive given the achievements. 20 years for a regional grouping of this sort is a young enough institution for it to have achieved what it has and what it could potentially do, as we heard others say as well. So I would begin by sharing a quotation from a political analyst, Mr. Robert Kaplan, and he said, and I quote, "The Bay of Bengal is starting to become whole again and is returning to the center of global history. The bay that once divided the Indian subcontinent from the Far East is now uniting these regions. No one interested in geopolitics can afford to ignore the Bay of Bengal any longer," unquote. And the reasons are, of course, compelling. You've heard earlier speakers mention that really represents the population of 1/5 of the world's population, that it has a GDP combined of $3 trillion plus, that it is rich in energy and provides a very important sea lanes of communication within the Bay of Bengal itself, and that it is gaining prominence, one, because of its potential in terms of human resources, its natural resources, that it is a bridge between South and Southeast Asia, and the fact that all the 7 countries today remain extremely vibrant and dynamic and can collectively contribute to growth and development, not just for itself, but for beyond the region as well. The primary objective of the sub-regional grouping is to promote regional economic integration and to foster connectivity. As far as India is concerned, you did hear previous speakers quote our Prime Minister and our External Affairs Minister about how BIMSTEC helps connect India's neighborhood policy with its Act East policy. Moreover, it is important for us for several other reasons. The fact that BIMSTEC is lodged where the northeastern states of India are also being encouraged to integrate with its extended neighborhood, which includes, of course, the BIMSTEC region. It has been a focal point for the Indian subcontinent's political economic strategy, and our commitment towards BIMSTEC was exhibited, as you heard earlier, when our Prime Minister invited all the leaders of BIMSTEC countries for a BRICS BIMSTEC Outreach Summit, which was held in Goa in 2016. India, of course, shares strong historical, geographical, and cultural linkages with this region. Of course, there has been transfer of religion and philosophy, including Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, in this region. India is growing today at an unprecedented rate, and under our Act East policy and our neighborhood policy, we are committed to making our neighbors a stakeholder in our growth, in this growth story. Therefore, India has an important role to play, and we are prepared to play that role. Foreign Secretary Mr. Bairagi mentioned about the fact that there are different countries in this grouping at different levels of development, and I'd like to here emphasize that India is prepared to play more than its a role in ensuring that BIMSTEC as a regional grouping not only thrives, but that it works together for the benefit of mankind, for the growth of our region as well. Our primary objective in this region has been to achieve greater connectivity, of greater trade, of greater people-to-people contact, and of course to promote sustainable use of resources, which was stated by our leadership as well. As connectivity is at the heart of BIMSTEC, India has been striving hard to deliver results. We have been working with other BIMSTEC members to improve physical connectivity, and I'd just name a few examples. One, of course, is the India-Myanmar Thailand Trilateral Highway, the Kaladan Multimodal Project, the maritime connectivity with Myanmar, the Asian Highway Network, and ASEAN Master Plan for Connectivity, where we would like to be integrated. Other areas where we're working to improve connectivity is in the sector of railways, of shipping, and civil aviation. We are, of course, doing a lot bilaterally with several countries of the BIMSTEC, and that we would certainly want to connect beyond the bilateral to make it a more regional success. For example, we are developing a new port in Sitwe in Myanmar, and we are engaging not just in the Bay of Bengal countries, but beyond, and focus on strengthening our efforts at other initiatives that complement and are in coherence with what is already being undertaken in the BIMSTEC context. Since Mr. Bairagi is sitting here, he would know for himself that in the last 3 years alone with Nepal, I think we've had a very good success story of construction of 3 new transmission lines. And in India, so in 2017, for the first time in history, India became a net exporter of electricity thanks to these transmission lines. In addition to that, we are also speedily undertaking development of border infrastructure, including integrated checkposts, including roads and rails. And once again, as far as Nepal is concerned, we hope to have the first railway line from Jayanagar to Bihar, in Bihar to Janakpur in Nepal. Already with Bengal, with Bangladesh, we have a very good rail connectivity, and we hope to make that better. Beyond physical connectivity also, India's efforts to connect the sub-region and act as a responsible stakeholder has been visible. In 2014, as many as 17 countries participated in our biennial Milan exercises, the maritime exercises called Milan, with representatives from all states from the extended Bay of Bengal area as well. BIMSTEC countries are also cooperating in a wide range of areas, and here I would like to share some of the major achievements that have taken place in 1 year alone. For the first time, we had, I think Mr. Bairagi had mentioned about the 14 areas that had been agreed by our leaders when they met in Goa in October 2016. And I think Mr. Panda did mention about connectivity, about the fact that the challenges that we face of poor infrastructure connectivity, of terrorism, of transnational crimes. These are all our collective challenges. And really to meet those, we have in the last 1 year done some major activities which I think will help in moving this particular regional grouping forward. And so in that context, the first meeting of the BIMSTEC National Security Chiefs was conducted in March last year, and we also had a track 1.5 discussion in September, again to discuss security-related issues on the need for addressing both traditional and non-traditional security challenges to harness our economic prosperity and human security in the region. A second boost was the establishment of the first meeting of disaster management, where India hosted the BIMSTEC disaster management exercise, which was inaugurated by our Home Minister in October last year. And it had the participation of experts from the entire region who looked at how we could cooperate together on issues of natural disasters, since all of us have been victims of natural disasters and prone to natural disasters. A third important achievement was the establishment of a BIMSTEC network of tour operators, followed by yet another tourism-related activity that was held in one in Kolkata and then in Guwahati, once again to identify specific areas where our tour operators could do thematic tour promotions, including one of a Buddhist circuit, of allowing tourists to experience our rich and shared civilizational heritage. And India further liberalized its tourist e-visa norms, which would make it easier for foreign tourists to visit our neighboring countries when they are on a trip to India. In December last year, we'd organized a Bodhi Parv in New Delhi, which was extremely well received, once again to highlight the important cultural heritage which could be showcased as for tourism purposes. Yet another very important aspect of promoting tourism, and we talk about blue economy, have been discussions within our BIMSTEC forum of developing a cruise ship to be able to undertake a tourist activity within the Bay of Bengal. Yet another very important achievement of last year, and I think I mentioned that earlier, was a Track 1.5 Security Dialogue Forum, which was held in Delhi in September last year. Clearly, BIMSTEC has immense potential, and our efforts today will bear fruits for member countries tomorrow. At the same time, we still need to overcome obstacles to achieve optimal success and realize the full potential of BIMSTEC. Low regional integration, a dearth of infrastructure, especially transport connections, and weak connectivity among BIMSTEC member countries hampers the growth of our region. And here, I would like to highlight issues which require our urgent attention. I think it's been mentioned by earlier speakers as well. One is, of course, of seamless connectivity. And here we feel that we have already initiated discussions on a framework agreement for a transit, transshipment, and movement of vehicular traffic, a motor vehicles agreement, and an agreement on coastal shipping. Now, these three soft agreements, in my opinion, will be extremely important in enhancing whatever physical connectivity-related infrastructure that is already underway.